さたしろ
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 207 of the Saturn Studs Podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my very Toit co-hosts, Peter and Jake.
It's the Lost and Found Respect edition of the cast. It's, find your self-worth. Deposit it in a safe deposit box. Gather interest on it after 70 years and come back as the fucking hero of the land. Or not. I don't fucking know.
Is that the story of Legend of Zelda?
That's some good financial advice right
time.
there.
That's right. Is that what they do? They just put their dignity in a fucking 10-year index fund? Wonder what the gains on that are.
I mean, I guess Link is there. If you want to be Link as that, sure. Wonk.
And as always, we're coming at you live from a ship shaped like boobs. And we're gonna do that bit again.
I don't even remember.
In no way, the boobs in no way resemble smoked meats.
No, that's not why they call it a rack at all. That would never, be an Austin Powers joke that you'd find in a deleted scene.
No, never.
And we would never riff on that if we had, improv'd it.
The international censors would crack down on us. You know how the algorithm.
Yeah.
Smoked meats are off the menu. YouTube is vegan.
Yes. In no way are we trying to allude that ribs can be found in the cups of braziers. No, never.
Nor that was the purpose for which they were invented.
Yeah, it was obviously for support and to help out women with back issues. And definitely not a depository for the bones.
This is a weird side tangent, but there's I've been mentally psychically impregnated with a fucking commercial for Toots. You ever heard of the restaurant Toots?
No, that sounds really disrespectful.
Toots has the ribs for you.
Is that a Hooters franchisor went rogue?
No, it's just a Tennessee comfort food restaurant.
Toots Burger. What's their specialty?
Toots.
Oh, is it Toots or Toots?
I call it Toots, but that might be my New York coming through. Toots.
Toots. You're gonna get the Toots.
You're gonna go get.
It's the Toots Burger.
Toots Burger.
Oh,
that's actually priced very well. Half-pound bacon cheeseburger.
Honestly,
for $4.99.
Good.
Usually when I get a bacon cheeseburger, from Five Guys, they're like, all right, give us your firstborn.
And then you eat it, and 10 minutes later, you're like, cut it out of me! Cut it out!
It's instantly the scene from Alien. And you just flop over on the table, and it bursts out of you. Thank you. Come again.
It's a hot ball of lead in my stomach.
Here at Five Guys, we kill you.
I have never once eaten at Five Guys and been very happy with the decision.
Oh,
But there's so many times that I've been like, I really need to get Five Guys because that sounds really good, like a greasy cheeseburger.
Yeah, it always sounds good.
Yeah, they have a milkshake, and then I get done eating it, and I sit in silence on the way home. Just no radio. The windows are
Hello,
open.
Darkness, my old friend.
And I just contemplate my life and clench my butthole.
I have fine
because it's running through me.
Yeah, Sounds of Silence plays as the camera slowly pans in on my face, and I realize I've made a horrible mistake.
I seem to have avoided this. I don't know. Maybe I think I just stop when I don't want to eat anymore. I'm just like, yeah, I know I paid $6 for this burger with 3 toppings that are just basic ass toppings, and I've only eaten half of it, but I'm good. We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, you're the guy. I've seen you eat a Big Mac over the course of several hours. You're a very different type of eater.
I would call it lugubrious What's the word for chewing? That isn't chewing.
Mastication.
I am a lugubrious masticator. It makes lunch really interesting. Whenever we're done with this show, I get lunch right after, and it takes me hours to finish it. And it's 4:00 when I'm done with lunch, and I'm like, now I can start my afternoon.
Oh boy, I
feel like Caligula.
That was a journey.
Toots makes that's the slag line right here. That's the tagline and the slag line. Toots makes you feel like Caligula. have a 4-hour lunch at Toots.
I'm still looking at this Toots menu, and I realize they call them chicken fingers here. I thought chicken fingers was like a New York thing.
Well,
calling them chicken fingers.
Chicken tenders.
Yeah, usually they're like chicken tenders, and
yeah, I don't know. I think that's like diffused out into other parts of the world.
I hope so, because I love me some chicken fingers, not chicken tenders.
But for what it's worth, here in New Jersey, I have yet to encounter a menu that refers to it as chicken fingers. So
weird. Same here. They're not chicken fingers here. They're chicken tenders.
Or chicken selects.
Sentimental fool for my chicken selects.
You're not going to pay a lot for this, but you're going to feel like you did. Chicken selects. Only
I love
McDonald's.
how they like McDonald's like presented that as like this premium fucking product by putting regular ass chicken tenders in a fucking gold box.
They appealed to the adult audience, and 8-year-old me was there for it. He's like, I'm an adult.
Yeah, because that's what you get. You're like, I don't fucking eat chicken nuggets anymore.
I'm too old for
Get those
nuggies.
McNuggets out of here. We're a chicken selects guy now.
And then you grow up and you realize, oh wait, yeah, chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
no.
you realize you come back to the light.
Yeah.
The prodigal son returns, and chicken nuggets just waiting there with open arms.
You can get
saying,
40,
I knew you'd be back.
You can get 40 nuggets for $12. I did it the other night.
You can. Oh, that's crazy. I always think about it, but I never pull the trigger on nuggets.
I split it with 3 people. Don't worry.
That's fair.
not an animal.
I'm an animal who's eaten an entire 40-piece nuggets by himself.
My
can
friend
eat
and I
'em?
tried to eat 50 together, but we didn't make it.
You can dunk them.
I'm shocked that I mean, it was granted it wasn't like in one sitting. It was a Peter sort of
Yeah.
like for the course of a couple hours, but I ate
It's
40 by
handball.
myself.
Yeah. Fucking. Goldmember?
After a while, it just... Oh, yeah.
Product placement? Goldmember? They didn't product place at all. It wasn't like they're. That's Goldmember made a lot. It cost a lot of money, and they had to raise a lot of money with advertisers. What a fucking movie.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we did the first 2 Austin Powers movies previously as part of 90s winter, and then a special supplemental episode because we had nothing else to do. So we hadn't really. We'd kicked around the idea of doing Goldmember every now and then, but the timing just felt right now because we have a few potential things in the background that we're trying to sort out if we want to do them or not. But this was like quick and easy, readily available for everyone to view, and it ties up a nice loose end we've had hanging out for several months now.
Yeah. It's been floating in space, and we're pulling it out.
First you were frozen, then you were in space, and now you're in jail.
It's so quotable. It's a fucking classic out here.
There was a lot of classic stuff that I remember, and I was like just a trip down memory lane with this stuff. And there was a lot of people who I didn't realize were in it.
Yeah. There was a lot of cameos, a lot of just celebrity. Like, I'm in this movie. It's a big deal, and I'm here for it. But you know who wasn't all here for it? Al Capone, because he had syphilis and went fucking insane.
Which leads us into our trailer watch.
Our one
Yeah.
trailer to
That was
watch.
shortened to
The one trailer that we watched.
It's a classier, lower quantity, higher quality. You gotta play the fancy music. Welcome to Trailer Observations. And then the fucking velvet curtains comes up, and I'm wearing the same shit and a lace ascot.
drinking out of a goblet.
Excuse me.
We're going to talk about Capone, starring Thomas Hardy.
Thomas Hardesky.
This is like a pimp cup. This is not a goblet.
And Matt
I know.
Matt Dillon.
I'm still trying to get my large party ass goblet. All right. Al Capone.
Yeah, Al Capone gets compared to Hitler, and they're like, he's got like total dementia. And I'm like, is this like a syphilis thing? That was my first thought. I'm like, well, he had syphilis. That's how he died.
Mm-hmm. So this looks to be like the story of the end of Capone's sort of like public life.
The untold story of Al Capone that I'm sure never actually happened.
Yeah, they say based on a true story. I feel like it was inspired by a...
When they say based on a true story, they mean there's a guy named Al Capone once.
It was inspired by something they thought they heard out of a comic book that resembled his name. So they're like, yeah, let's make it the Capone movie. So what it seems like is like the FBI wants to just get dirt on Capone, and they're like, he has dementia. He's probably going to tell us everything now.
Yeah. And Tom Hardy is Al Capone, and he looks like Goldmember in this.
Yeah, what is
He looks worse than Goldmember, to be honest. Part of that is, I guess intentional, but I don't know how much of it is like unintentional, because he looks very, very liquid rubbery. He's got a bad Mission Impossible mask on.
They made the mask with Flex Seal.
So I don't know how. I don't think Tom Hardy looks a whole lot like Al Capone. I feel like they just did his hair to look like Capone.
Yeah,
probably.
That's it.
He looks like the fucking penguin out here. Let me show you this image. He was the wrong
Capone looks
guy.
like the penguin?
Yeah. Fucking look at this.
Definitely does.
This is fucking Cobblepot right here.
Oh yeah, Tom Hardy looks like penguin.
That doesn't look like Danny DeVito.
I don't know.
You mean Mini-Me?
Hey, asshole!
Can we do we'll do the sequel to Twins with different twins, except one of them is still Danny DeVito. It's Tom Hardy and Danny DeVito.
Weren't they?
And Danny
didn't we
DeVito has no
read,
coloring in his
a while
hair.
ago
It's
that
gray.
They were going to do triplets.
I say they don't. They're just like,
Well, it was going to be, I think, Schwarzenegger and DeVito again, and then they were going to add a black guy, and he was going to be the triplet.
Kevin Hart.
It was one of the Wayans, I think.
it's pretty solid.
That sounds like something a Wayans brother would do. They have no dignity.
Yeah, they lost it after Scary Movie. All the Scary Movie movies.
It was specifically, I think, Scary Movie 5 was the one where people seem to wake up and they're like, wait, these movies are shit.
All of them, yeah, well, the first one or two were pretty good, but it was just what you saw all these parody movies. It's like from 2 of the 6 writers of Scary Movie, and those 2 writers are Marlon and Damian Wayans.
Disaster movie from friends of 2 of the other writers of one of the Scary Movie movies that knew some guy that worked on the set. It's they just wanted to associate the name of the movie with that, and they just fell apart.
You know what the worst part of all this is? there is someone who has a tradition where they marathon watch all of those movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they're white. And I'm mad about it. Because it's true. I don't want to bring race into it, but that's just something that we do. just like a dad who's like ready to leave and grabs his keys and is like, "All right, kids, let's skedaddle." It's just something we do. I don't know. I've said it before. I'm upset at myself.
Is it bad that when you said Dad gets ready to leave, I thought you meant like leave his family, a broken home?
When your dad leaves for milk and never comes back.
Let's skedaddle.
Let's skedaddle. And then he leaves you at the gas station. And you see his Dodge Ram pull away without you in it. And you're like, Dad, where are you going? I'm still here.
And then you were taught about sexuality by truckers.
It hasn't been the same since.
Yes. We are all terrible people.
Jake's
Peter
dabbing
just
his fucking
Peter.
afflicted eyes.
My leaky eye.
I'm speaking cursed tongues in the fucking comments.
The difference between, we're all terrible people, but the difference between the three of us is that Peter is the only one smart enough not to commit this to tape.
Accurate.
They'll get me on
he had
tax
the
fraud.
best grades. That's
You just gotta hide your indiscretions. You just gotta put them in a box or a trunk and then cut them up in plastic bags and spread them around the city. Put a little sodium hydroxide in there. It'll get the bones.
Is it bad that I kind of want to do a scary movie marathon now?
Don't worry.
I'm
It's
so white. I'm upset with myself now.
no. I get it. The urge came to me as well. It's like looking over the edge of the Grand Canyon. Just the void. The void calls to you.
I get it. It's like getting your W-2s in and then just wanting to file your tax returns. It's just something. It's just that's something that white people urge, man. I don't know.
it's like buying a weapon and deciding to register it. It's just something that white people do.
Shit, white people do. Gets an email from TurboTax. Oh, my credit score went up. I wonder what it is. That's just something white people do.
Just gonna scoot by you here. Now they say that's a Midwestern thing, but we do it here too. I've seen it.
Just gonna scoot.
Excuse me, pardon me. Coming through.
God.
We don't have mosquitoes. We have skeeters. It's just something white people have.
Apparently, daddy long legs. It's not even like cultural divides. This is just like regional divides now. Like daddy long legs mean like 5 different things depending on where you're from. Because we have they're little tiny spiders, which are just like they diddle around in your bathroom, and their body's the size of the head of a pin, and it's just like okay. And then some places it's like a fucking deadly ass like tarantula type deal.
Just
Yeah.
diddle
Problems.
around your bathroom. No, that's called my Uncle Freddie. Just diddles around in the bathroom when I'm in there, and I'm like, get away. Then you find out later that he wasn't actually related to you or your family at all.
That's something
one
that
knew who
everyone
this
can
guy
relate
was.
to. The
That's when
uncle.
he was like, call me Daddy Longlegs. I was like, no, I don't want to. Just diddling around in my bathroom. Go home. you
Call
don't
me
live
daddy
here.
long legs. I'd really rather not.
Can I go pee without you here?
And that's when I bought the Lawnmower 3.0.
This joke is brought to you by Manscaped? What the
Yeah.
Also use it as a personal protection device against daddy long legs diddling around in your bathroom.
Clear that brush, that intimidating brush right out of there. Satiate him with some anti-chafing ball deodorant.
Oh my god. Where do we go? What just happened?
Took a turn. It took a turn I don't think I'm ready to come back from.
If we were actually sponsored by Manscaped, this would be the perfect, and they could just retire from sponsorships because that would be the perfect ad segue. Like, you could do no better. You need Manscaped. You need to retroactively send us money for that. Do the right thing.
Look,
Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing.
if this is anything, it's an audition to Manscaped. Look what we can do for you.
206 episodes of biding our time.
All this time we've been trying to get that sweet, sweet quip money when it was really Manscaped that we really should have been getting down on our knees for.
To inspect the closeness of the shave from your Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer.
I'm just here to witness it.
Oh, man.
Now that's a smooth trim.
Why aren't you people sending us money? What about this do you not want associated with your corporate image? Oh,
Look, we'll do a live stream and demonstrate. I'm willing to do that.
I will shave my balls on Twitch for this.
Goes out, buys a baseball, and just glues a bunch of like fur to it. It's like, look at it! I'm shaving my balls.
I am that white.
I'm not violating the community guidelines technically.
All right.
That's
Well,
some funny shit.
so that's Capone.
Go see Tom Hardy May 17th. Or whenever it's coming out.
May 12th, supposedly.
May 12th.
Press X to doubt.
Yeah, okay. May 12th. It's going to be straight to Amazon Prime.
Tie a nice little bow on that one.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's look at the follow-up. We have a new box office king. It's Swallow, the movie about a pregnant woman that mysteriously starts swallowing dangerous objects.
Let me this reminds Yeah.
Oh, you doubt me? From the Swallow IMDb page. Hunter, a newly pregnant housewife, finds herself increasingly compelled to consume dangerous objects. As her husband and his family tighten their control over her, she must confront the dark secret behind her new obsession.
Why the fuck did they make a movie out of
I believe it's called Pica.
yeah. It's just the strange addiction on TLC.
Wait, I'm trying to look. Wait a second. I'm trying to
the
find
other
the
movie.
R.L. Stein story, which this was ripped from.
There's another movie that's even worse called The Other Lamb.
I feel like it's religious.
A girl born into an all-female cult led by a man in their compound begins to question his teachings and her own reality.
Yep,
Got a solid 5.0 on IMDb.
Usually
Usually that happens. Usually in cults, when things start to go awry, people start to question.
So,
See that.
just so you guys know. They made an R.L. Stein story about Pike. He got a magic curse that makes him eat non-food material. Ooh.
Bugs and dirt and stuff. Yep, that's spooky. Look, he's even turning green because he's sick.
The best way to survive an all R.L. Stein book is to be over the age of 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you just don't see monsters.
Yeah, just nothing ever happens to you. Your life is perfect and without incident.
Dad, there's a monster downstairs. Well, you bent my hand off. I don't have time for this, Billy. I have to go to work at the business office.
There's a soup can full of goo that turns all my clothes into fucking scorpions. Don't worry about it, son.
Childish behavior. You must grow up to be a businessman.
I never got any of like the big famous ones. Any of the big R.L. Stein. I had like the one where he turned into a bee. I had this. I had the one where the boy fucking got like impregnated by an alien and started laying eggs. That was fucking weird. Someone had an experience with that and grew up and had preferences. I got
they alone.
The monster blood, whereupon kids enact a Grey Goose scenario by accident in a fucking coffee can.
I remember watching the Mask one was a classic of mine, and then there was one where there was about plants and some shit. Like the adult was like a botanist, and there were like evil plants.
Oh, does anyone turn into a plant in that one?
I believe so.
Okay, that's starting to ring a bell.
Turning into a plant and getting a mask, haunted mask.
I think I only ever have. I never read any of the Goosebump things. I remember vaguely my grandpa reading like one of the Choose Your Own Adventure ones to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have like, I remember a couple of the endings, but like no context with them whatsoever. Stay out of the basement.
Oh, nifty.
Yeah, I remember that very well. Oh, jeez. Where are we at? Oh, Lamb?
Yeah, other Lamb. So Swallow, both in one theater. Swallow brought in $1,986. The other Lamb brought in $1,689.
Yeah, these are pretty good takes, I think, for one theater.
Yeah,
but
it's
Swallow
not bad.
seems to have been out for a while, so we may have missed it like when it first was released in March.
Yeah, this looks like a re-release.
Because it has 29,000 domestic, and then worldwide is 263. But it seems like it was an international film.
Yeah.
Because only people from Europe probably swallow stuff when they're pregnant. Stuff from pica and shit like that.
That's how you get babies born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Yeah. See, Europeans make a riveting movie about it that has class and intensity to it. We turn it into a TLC show. And we're like, look at that lady eat a mattress.
We'll stick a in a programming block with my 600-pound life.
Are they related? No, but maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, technically, it's all in the same universe, so yeah, there could be a crossover eventually where the mattress eater, helps the 600-pound sisters, exercise and lose some weight, and feeding them mattress.
Oh, my strange addiction. I cannibalize people with obesity. My 600-pound lunch. That's a fucking R.L. Stein book right there.
My strange addiction. I like to eat fat people. Cross episode with 1,000-pound sisters. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
We put them in
We'll
a
just see what happens.
we put them in a room together. For
We
6
put them in a
hours.
big biodome, like in the movie Biodome. And we're just going to see what happens.
I look forward to in 50 years if we can fully simulate human interaction, or at least crappy human interaction, virtual reality shows where it's just like Kevin and his wife are on a alien planet fighting a fucking xenomorph. How do they die today? And you could just like simulate virtual people's death in a bazillion ways for shitty drama.
You know what would be actually really interesting? You gave me this idea. It might have been done already. But I've always imagined, like in a reality TV show like Jersey Shore or some shit like that, being a fly on the wall, just seeing how people are sometimes. What if we had cameras like everywhere in the house, and you could like VR jump into the house and just be a fly on the wall?
Well,
amongst...
you were just going to have a lot of perverts going straight to the bathroom camp and keeping it parked there.
Of course there's got to be a bathroom cam.
Yeah, but that's
That's
all
the
like
draw.
that's going to be the fucking most viewed cam by a bunch of people with preferences.
But you know how we can avoid that is we we dox everybody who goes to the bathroom cam. Look at this pervert.
But you're going to have the super perverts who are like, I want them to know.
I don't care. Let them know.
I'm Nazi scientist Leo Spichema. No, I want them to know.
Fuck. So did these wait? So these have been out for a while. These have been re-released.
Yeah.
Are there any
these are-
IMDb reviews for Swallow?
Yes, there are.
I want to see what
them. There
people
are
have to say
59 user reviews for
about
Swallow.
J-Law's eating habits.
All right, well, I'll kick it off with a 10-star review.
Where's the...
This is 10 out of 10 from Miguel, March 17th, 2020, St. Paddy's Day. The summary caught my interest. I did not have too much expectations, but this movie is is a small masterpiece. Visually appealing, and the script is excellent. Haley Bennett perfectly fitted this role. It's impossible not to sympathize with her character. I would say this is sort of a drama art house movie, so don't expect any horror or thriller vibe. Although still exciting, with many uncomfortable scenes, this movie is far away from boring. I should also mention the sound/music was fitting very well in this movie.
Okay.
That was read exactly as it was written. 5 out of 11. Found it helpful.
Well, I see a 1-star that says worst movie ever from PS Expert 10. I don't know. This movie starts with a frustrated woman who swallow all kinds of objects. Boring garbage from beginning to end. Don't watch this stinker. The best part was the end sequence from the ladies' toilet. Oh? Where women were coming, leaving and
References.
washing their hands for approximately 5 minutes. That maybe give you a clue of how interesting this movie is.
Oh, okay.
It kind of gives me...
It gives me
concern
some
about
clue
some-
about your preferences.
Yeah, you like ladies on toilet. Okay.
Turlets.
15
Where
out of
the-
37 people found this helpful.
It's where the dicks hang out.
In the toilet.
Well, there's this one that just is 6 out of 10. 7 out of 29 found it helpful by Nick Zatz. Well, Ticket had a fine taste. Oh, wait, is this a full... Okay. No. That's it. Got it.
Ticket Friday. That was it.
It's a nice little
Because he
punchline.
swallowed it. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. 0-1. Okay. Amazing psychological drama from L. Wilcox, 07389. Apparently, there are a lot of L. Wilcoxes in the world. This is not a thriller or horror movie. This is a somewhat horrifyingly accurate representation of someone trying to fake it till they break it, along with people who initially care but absolutely don't get it. This is almost spot on. I work with people with trauma, with mental illnesses like these, and similarities in tone, facial expressions, concerns, dress, attempts to garnish approval of lifestyle to feel complete are all scarily accurate. It's also very satisfying. First review ever. Just go into it knowing what you're getting and you'll be impressed. I agree with reviewers who said character study. Zero out of one found that helpful.
A general theme of these reviews, both good and bad, is like it's not a horror movie, which I guess it tried to market itself as.
Well, that is one of the tags on here.
Oh, wow.
Probably is about as scary as The Boy Who Ate Fear Street.
So, 1 out of 10. Impossible to empathize with main character. Okay. Well, this guy's going to be conceited. And warning, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen this. I don't care. I understood how out of control Hunter felt, and I won't judge her pica disorder, as this is what made the film interesting. But her decision in the end scene paints her as a selfish, immature person, and it's very difficult to empathize with her. I fail to see what type of control over her life she believes she actually gained, so she will go back to a retail job and be a wage slave. Is this freedom? Whilst her husband was not a nice guy, I felt as though she simply traded one bad apple for the other. It also felt like cheap revenge to kill an unborn baby simply because she wanted freedom from her past life. There must have been a third option for her, and I feel as though she did not have the capacity for introspection required from someone who find themselves unhappy and in need of control over their life. The actress did an outstanding job in the role, and she was the only thing that made the movie watchable. But still, 1 out of 10, 12 out of 29 found this helpful. This guy's just like, actress did an amazing job. But I didn't like it.
I went on a journey there in that review. That was magical.
These are some of the more cogent reviews I've seen for movies. There's not a lot of verbal diarrhea coming out of here. Although, I don't know. We'll see what this one has in store. By Hamper Snow -28905. This is Hamper Snow. Come in. Big Papa. Anyways, 4 out of 10 should come with a warning. 7 out of 24 finding this helpful. After I watch a movie like this, I feel like it should come with a warning. More Hollywood liberal propaganda ahead. Watch at your own discretion. Haley is a great actress. Wait, Haley?
Haley Bennett.
Haley Bennett is the actress.
Wait, Haley Bennett.
It's
not J-Law?
It's not J-Law, no.
What the fuck?
It's just her twin.
Okay.
Yeah, she looks like J-Law.
It's like legitimately surprised by that.
I was. Haley is a great actress, and the performances are wonderful. The movie is well shot, but the film is filled with one-dimensional characters, and none of it rings true or based in reality, especially for such a subject. Once again, there are clear good guys and bad guys, and life is just not like that. Throughout the movie, I kept asking myself, who acts like that? Certain characters do and say things that seem to happen only in movies. The movie calls on you to feel sorry for her, and there's going to be a segment of viewers who are going to find her character completely unsympathetic. I am one of them. Unless you are in the mood to swallow, pun intended, more liberal nonsense, I would suggest avoiding this.
Is it because of the abortion that he wrote that review?
I guess. He didn't elaborate on it. He just assumed that we all understood what he was talking about.
I gotta imagine when he says liberal propaganda.
They are the same person, though. Not gonna lie.
They do look really similar.
J-Law has a much bigger forehead. and more rounded chin.
Those are sliders.
Yeah, but like it's like the eyes and
There's
her nose is
similarity. I'm
maybe a
not.
little bit up,
Yeah, I'm not saying they're like if
Over
you just.
J-Law, well, what Haley Bennett really needs to do is have her nudes leaked, and then she'll really pop off.
The Fappening 3.0.
Yeah. Actually, let me see if there's any out.
What's her? I'm trying to find Jennifer. I feel like there's a movie that Jennifer Lawrence was in where she was like almost wearing a similar costume, or like, what's her filmography? Maybe I'm just like totally fucking making this up in my own mind.
It's possible.
I guess not. I guess I'm thinking of some. It was one of the. It wasn't Red Sparrow, but I thought she was in like another femme fatale spy movie or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think Red Sparrow was the only one she was in.
Okay. Then never mind. What is this? The oh, she was on the Bill Engvall show in 2007.
Sure.
I'm just looking at her old filmography because like I feel like I don't know when she really broke into the mainstream was like Hunger Games, X-Men First Class, I guess.
Yeah, I think she was on the upswing there. I don't remember if Hunger Games came out first. What Silver Linings Playbook was the thing that I remember her getting big for.
Oh yeah, I thought it was Hunger Games that she got big for, but when did that first come out? 2012.
The same
yeah,
year
X-Men.
as Silver Linings.
Okay. X-Men First Class came out before it though, so she could have had a little bit more clout from that.
So, the Beaver from 2000. I'm sorry, I have to pull up the description of this. The Beaver from 2011. Mel Gibson is married to Jodie Foster, and he adopts a beaver hand puppet as his sole means of communication.
Oh, I feel like I've seen trailers for this.
I want to see
way
that
back
movie.
when.
Yeah, it's one of those like, stop, you have a problem. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Bitch, the only problem is you.
Stop it, Beaver.
I didn't say that. The Beaver did.
Oh, globtious.
That's how I should start communicating. Yeah. That definitely won't backfire at all.
There's absolutely no way that this could ever come back to bite me in the ass.
Just like, I'm trying to relate this to games somehow.
Yeah, I'm pulling for you.
Jake has a wonderful expression on his face.
I wish y'all could see this.
It's such an adult expression. Just such a truly like.
It's just something white people have, man. He's just got that face like.
Something came up at his cubicle. Like there's a fucking error with the printer. He's like,
I don't know how to fix this.
Better
Must be a
place a
paper
call
jack.
on over to IT, dude.
They'll get back to me in a week. I don't know. Something about remakes, because it seems like there's remakes out the ass in gaming Hollywood right now. That's what I consider
Gameywood?
the gaming community. Because we just had Final Fantasy VII, I think it was 7, remake come out.
Yep.
And people are creaming their jeans over it, dude.
Yeah, we talked about last week how it was very well received.
I'm seeing shots of it, just like on TikTok and whatnot. And it does look good, I gotta say. It makes me kind of want to play the game, even though I never played any of Final Fantasy VII. But like, I probably won't get it because that's such like a community thing. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for that remake for a while. I just feel like I'd be a imposter if I didn't play the original.
If the remake can't appeal to new fans or new audiences, I think it's going to have a problem.
I can weigh in on this. You should play the remake. because the original Final Fantasy VII did not have like a journal feature. So if you ever stopped playing it for more than like 3 days in a row, like if you skip 3 days without playing it, you would not remember anything that you were doing and could not go back to look at it.
Oh, that's rough.
And I hope the updated version includes a journal. I would assume it would, but that would be like my number one feature. Like you could just re-release old Final Fantasy VII with a journal, and it would perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But
And
it's,
to all you saying, "Oh, just use your own journal." No, that's not. Fuck you. My
how
own
video
journal
games
does not
work.
automatically keep track of itself in the writing voice of the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that's really interesting with all these remakes is like it makes you, when you go back and play these remakes, and how it makes you see that like this is how it looked like to you when you first played Final Fantasy or something like that, like your original remake. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I felt that with the Master Chief Collection, because you could
Yeah.
toggle between the remastered and like original graphics, and I was like, fucking when I was 8, this switched to the original graphics looked like this in my head.
It's like it looked like amazing, but then I just go back to the old graphics now, and I'm like, yikes! I played this.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
back
like,
to the other one.
fuck, God, no. Yeah, I used to like switch back and forth a lot, but then I'm like, no, Halo 1 was ugly. Just fucking get that out of here.
Let me remember it like the masterpiece that it was. But honestly,
Yeah.
like that, and especially with like Resident Evil remakes coming out as well, like people are saying the same thing.
Yeah, Resident Evil 3 remake just dropped.
Yeah,
The remade Nemesis. That'd be pretty neat.
that there's mods already out for. You can turn them into Shrek.
Of course, that was that was day one priority in the modding community. We gotta get Shrek in this game.
I want Shrek chasing me.
Nemesis Shrek. Speaking of remakes and remasters, it's the return of the King, boys. The "but can it run Crisis" memes will return because Crisis Remastered is coming to the PC with ray tracing and higher resolution textures.
Oh my god.
For another decade, Crisis can be the benchmark in which all systems are judged.
By all computing systems and industrial heating units can be judged. Can your furnace run hotter than Crisis on my PC?
Although there is some cause for concern because, well, hopefully there's two different versions because they are planning to release it on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So if it's a unified version, it can't be that demanding. But
Jesus. Running Crisis on Nintendo Switch? I never thought I'd experience this day. Is my Switch gonna like start shaking? Run
dude,
it
like dead
graphic.
ass. The original Crisis, I haven't played Crisis 2 or Crisis 3, but I'm sure they were similarly challenging. But the original Crisis still, like if you crank up all the settings, still, even on my 1080 Ti, like, I mean, it can run it fine, but it pushes the 1080 Ti a lot more than the game from 2007 has any right to push that graphics card. Considering what the top GPU solution at the time was, like, they fucking built Crisis for hardware that was still 5 years away.
That's fascinating. Nobody can run it at max, but at least you have the option to try.
Yeah, like the 8800 GT was the top GPU of it that day when it came out, before they even started the GeForce line of GPUs.
My God.
See, I like that though. It's nice to have like a future-proof game that you can still,
There's
pick up.
future proofing, and then there's that. Like, that was extreme.
They're really putting stock into the game. They're like, this game's gonna be out for 20 years. This is gonna make Grand Theft Auto look like a Call of Duty game. Well, they come out with one every other year.
What's the story on fucking like Valorant? This is just
Oh.
like it's just CS:GO with some abilities, but also owned by China.
We touched
Yeah.
on this last week, didn't we?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've watched some games. Yeah. So if you miss it, Valorant is like CS:GO. It's like a search and destroy kind of thing. You plant a bomb, whatever. But the twist, I guess, is you have abilities, and your agent has different abilities that you can buy. Most of them seem to be like a wall or a smoke screen type effect. And then I think you charge up your ultimate over time, and then that's it's usually a pretty powerful thing. You get it every several rounds. It's really closely related to CS:GO, as in like there's angled shots, and you really got to get those corner shots. It's pretty crazy. I've seen some people play it, and it's fast paced, high strategy type of game. There is some news that came out with Valorant. There is some new maps that are being revealed. There's some pictures of some stuff. So they are coming out with new content, and I think that's what they got to do to stay relevant. It seems like a lot of streamers like the game. But I don't know. I think you have to like that style of game to really find enjoyment out of it. It doesn't really appeal too much to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't super exciting. I think I'd rather watch like Overwatch for my team-based strategy games.
Mm-hmm. And if you have any doubt left of whose side we're on in this, Tencent is a Chinese puppet of the Chinese government.
Well,
It's not a Chinese puppet of the New Zealand government.
well, it's made by Riot Games.
Oh, Riot. Also a puppet of the Chinese government.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know.
Also, general, just fucknards.
Yeah. Speaking of
There's a lot of them
China,
in there.
China to ban online gaming and chatting with foreigners outside of the Great Firewall after Joshua Wong placed a pro Hong Kong, free Hong Kong message in his Animal Crossing village. China has begun to crack down further on online censorship in the gaming space, realizing that was an area where they did not have total authority over expression.
Yep. Pros, the eternal stopping of the human soul and crushing of the freedom of information, which would otherwise promote, the truth. Pros, less Chinese hackers on my fucking servers.
Yeah. But it's not just online gaming. There will be new laws that will not allow for zombies and plagues, map editing, role-playing, or any organizing a union in games.
What's sad is I immediately understand exactly why they have all of those in place.
Yeah.
I think, thankfully, like, the market has just sort of settled in such a way where American designers don't necessarily have to be beholden to the whims of the party to do it in the same way that Hollywood is.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that even if it wasn't an American thing, if it didn't get huge in America, you would not have any plague or sickness based movies for a long time.
Yeah. Likely not. Alrighty. Next up, sticking with ray tracing in the news again this week for the beta version of Minecraft with RTX. It looks nice, but it still looks like unmistakably, Minecraft.
I was like, Minecraft RTX ray trace. Wait, what? Blocks? Shadows?
Yeah, I mean, like here's the there's a video and some stills in this article, and like yes, it looks quite nice for Minecraft, but at the same time, it still looks like Minecraft, and the just sheer crazy amount of GPU power to run this is staggering.
Yeah.
So here is some of the benchmark results. The PC Gamer test rig here running a Core i7 9700K and an RTX 2080. So that's the second best ray tracing card available on the market with a very solid, or third, I guess, because the 2080 Super's card, with a very capable CPU. So at 1440p, RTX enabled and the dynamic super sampling enabled, 67 average frame rate with a minimum of 51.
Wow.
For Minecraft on a 9700K and a 2080.
Now, do you think that's just like an optimization thing for the game?
I mean, it's just they threw every ray tracing effect into it. It could get better with optimization. This still is in beta, so there can be performance enhancements. But I think it's just going to be really hard to run because of all the ray tracing effects. They might dial it back a bit because of this, or they might just be like, we're pulling a crisis. We're designing for hardware 5 years in advance.
Waiting for the 2080, Founders Edition or some shit.
But can it run Minecraft?
But can it run Minecraft? Ray tracing beta? That's bananas. Jeez.
RTX enabled, DLSS 2.0 disabled. Interestingly enough, brings the frame rate down to 30 frames per second on average and a minimum frame rate of 22.
It's not even like human motion passing. What's that word,
What is
Continuous
DLSS?
Dynamic learning super sampling.
That's weird.
It's a more advanced super sampling thing. It's like super anti-aliasing sort of deal.
I feel like that would help the FPS.
It's rendering the scene in a much higher resolution and then downsampling it to display resolution to increase sharpness.
Oh, that's weird, but okay.
It's actually nice. I run it on a few games on my monitor here because it's only 1440p, but I can run the game at a higher resolution.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that first one was RTX disabled and DLSS enabled, because otherwise that doesn't make sense. But I don't know. So RTX disabled, average frame rate 192, minimum 118 at 1440. At 1080, both enabled 8367, RTX enabled, dynamic learning super sampling disabled 5038, and then RTX disabled 2R8 125. So it's it's gonna make you chug if you try to run it all topped out.
But I have a good cooling system.
That's fucking insane.
For Minecraft too. It's just so the main strength of Minecraft is that it can run on a fucking potato.
I know. I can run on that. Honestly, that's just maybe just one of the profound things about Minecraft is that you can see it in so many places, from the top echelon to the potatoes. You can literally run it on, I think it came pre-installed on a Raspberry Pi that we used at my work, and then we played it at work. Of this little Raspberry Pi edition of Minecraft.
That's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. So lastly, Sony is giving PlayStation 4 owners 2-3 games, but it's actually like, I believe 5 or 4-3 games. 4-3 games, because you can now redeem until May 5th at 8 p.m. Pacific time, which would be 11 Eastern. You can redeem your coupon for Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection and Journey. I don't know much about Journey, but the Uncharted games are, classics of the PS3 era, and you get 3 of them in the Nathan Drake collection. So
Journey is also an indie darling for the PS. So, guess it's a lot of popular shit.
Pretty good value and all for free to help you stay inside during the outbreak.
Yep.
All right, that's all I have for gaming news. So let's talk about something that is a lot better than I remember it.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. Yeah,
It's-
I honestly, for a third installment of this kind of slapstick comedy that never took itself super serious, I expected it to be a lot more campy.
I remember it being my least favorite of the 3 and thinking pretty poorly of it. But when I watched it again last night, because I watched the first 2 religiously almost, but like very rarely do I ever watch the third one. I was like, this is a lot better than I remember it being.
Yeah. It may still very well be the least of the 3.
Oh, it for sure
That-
is.
Does not mean it is not still a banger. And
Yeah.
I think
I described it once as if Austin Powers 1 and 2 are comedy gold, Austin Powers 3 is comedy silver. It's still a comedic precious metal, but it's just intrinsically less valuable.
I think it should
Yeah.
be. I think it should be more like the Austin Powers 1 and 2 are comedy platinum, and then 3 is comedy gold.
Gold.
Just gotta stick with it.
Yeah, it's because this movie I think also got a lot bigger in terms of just scale of production. I feel
Oh yeah, I mean definitely this had the biggest budget, but
'Cause
weirdly
by
the
this-
worst CGI.
I think I
Yeah.
saw like 63 million budget.
like what did Austin Powers 2 have? Because that was the one that at this point it was a full on like cultural thing because it was early 2000s and of course 70s was the throwback era.
Oh, half that. It had 33 million for budget for 2.
Yeah, so double the budget.
Nearly, yeah.
Double your fun, put in Britney Spears with double income.
And Quincy Jones, Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, Kevin Spacey. That one didn't age so well. Danny DeVito.
Yikes.
It's so weird to see like where are they now? Because this movie was 2 decades ago, and it's like we're in a different world now. Because I see Vern Troyer, and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
no.
and then Gwyneth Paltrow to know that she's like fucking made trillions of dollars in the Marvel universe and peddling her goop shit.
Goop.
Yep. Kevin Spacey is actually Dr. Evil now.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, that's
becoming
another
the
weird one. Like,
The icon that we know and love to be Alfred.
what a weird
Master
time!
Wine.
What a weird time in history where Mike Myers was the star over Michael Caine. Like, you go back and look at this, and you're like, wow, Michael Caine is so much more famous than Mike Myers is. But at the time, Mike Myers was at the peak of his popularity.
Honestly, yeah.
Beyonce was still had some shred of humility and humanity left in her.
Yeah, she was
Did
not
not like
a
fucking
good
ascend to like
actress.
Xerxes godhood.
Seeing this
not-
era of Beyonce reminded me for some reason that like as a young boy, like Beyonce was the first lady I ever saw that made me feel a certain way, you know? It was that, you know what it was? It was that fucking DirecTV commercial that she did where it was like one of her music videos and she's just in like this tight, like gold one piece and a lot of like,
Thing?
yeah. And I
Okay.
was like, yeah, that's making me feel a certain way.
What's going on here? I'm getting a new status report from a region that I never get status reports. Winky, what's happening?
Private, what's going on down there?
Private, what's going on?
Status report. I'm at full attention, Sarge.
This movie proving once again, Canadians had the heart of humor. They had the fucking.
Yes, that is the one.
Good job, Jake. Tracking it down. Video unavailable. Wait, do I have to go on YouTube to wait?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to watch it on YouTube.
2007 full version.
Yeah.
Upgrade. She's talking about an upgrade. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, I was really taken aback because I completely forgot about the beginning of the scene with all the cameos that were in it, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow, that was the one that like
30.
really stuck out to me because I had been watching, JonTron's goop-related content.
I was like, wait, Gwyneth Paltrow?
The craziest thing about that commercial is $30 for DirecTV.
Yeah.
It's now because they have internet, they're just like, we'll just make it fucking 60 and it'll work.
Yeah.
It'll go.
I forgot.
Ridiculous.
They called that. Did they say what the name of that movie was that they were filming in Austin Powers?
Austin Pussy. Yeah.
Austin Pussy. Because they have all the down in the cast. They have all of them down there. Tom Cruise, famous Austin Pussy.
Yeah.
And then Steven Spielberg, famous director, Austin Pussy.
They even had one for like DA, like down to director's assistant. I'm like, wow. That's an in joke for the Hollywood people.
They're just it was interesting what kind of things they put in, because like this is very much a movie where they took it's like a kebab, really. The skewer is the through line of the story, and it's always been that way in Austin Powers, right? We have the through line of the story, and then you put on the chunks of comedy and entertainment that you want on there. And this one was like, this is like the veggie heavy skewer at the end. Like you have the ones that are just like your lamb and your onions and all that shit, and then you have the one for like your vegetarian friend where like, we're just gonna double down on the dance numbers and the really meta jokes. There's a lot of like the Hollywood dancing thing. Like it wasn't bad. I was just like, I noticed it more. I was like, wow, there's like 4 like dancing with backup dancers segments in this movie. Like everybody gets one.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Beyonce, I think, was the weakest co-star. Very talented vocalist. Not as talented an actress.
Yeah.
Yes. They I think they did pretty well with having her in. It's like it's like when a famous athlete comes and does a match in wrestling. Yeah.
Like she just didn't quite have the comedic timing necessary to pull off a role like this.
Mm-hmm. It is very that timing is tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed.
No, go ahead.
I noticed that I laughed a lot at like just Dr. Evil's like fucking around more than because I remember all the huge jokes and gags and set pieces. So those are just like, for me, I'm like, yeah, that's a great fucking joke.
Yeah, you know what's kind of funny is I remember as a kid Goldmember being like the funniest part of this movie, but like when I watched it last night, I was like, you know what, I everything around Goldmember is a lot funnier than Goldmember himself.
Mm-hmm. It's just things like when fucking Dr. Evil turns around in a trucker hat. Like that's a 5-second bit, but I was laughing.
Yeah,
I was like guffawing.
Son
at
of
that.
bitch, pile of monkey nuts. I've used that with you for years, Peter. And my friend Nick and I have been using that for over a decade now. How about "No, you crazy Dutch bastard" is something I say almost daily.
No.
I want that reaction gif, especially when someone Dutch does something crazy. Just something like insane.
I'm Dutch, isn't that crazy?
Dutch, isn't that weird?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, there's the little subtle jokes that I think I missed when I was younger by just being overshadowed by the big bits that they were doing. And the small stuff really stood out to me this time, and that's where it hit its peak.
And of course, the greatest scene in this movie when Austin and Mini-Me fight. When he switches over sides. I just love the sound it makes when he swings that sack and it hits the steel beam. It just goes thunk and he stops moving. I laughed so hard I fucking wheezed. It smashes him through the table with the overhead swing.
So visceral.
And even just kicking it off where he like punts and it's obviously a dummy into the fucking fridge. And then it hangs on the dummy for a beat. And then it's for Troyer again.
I love all the little things in this. Like I start noticing, like, we've watched enough where it's now detail watching. Like when Austin visits Dr. Evil in the Supermax facility, like the super jail.
Yeah.
And he's pissing and he zips up his fly and you turn around and he has a fucking full body zipper. Like, how did you... Like, I don't even know if that was intentional or not. If that was just like a little one.
I could almost see how
I laughed at that.
I could almost see how like these were shot. Like I could like see behind the camera with like Mike Myers just doing the whole Dr. Evil half without any like stimulus from the other side. Yeah. Like I could just see that in my head happening, and like I noticed like how long or like how sharp the cuts were. Like it's clearly like this side, that side. Whenever Mike Myers was doing a scene with two characters in it. Yeah,
but his energy just fucking it wipes that away.
Oh no, like, I'm not complaining.
Which
it's
is
just stuff
which
I
is
noticed.
great. Like, even though like the he didn't have the technology, you had the fucking skill to make up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have the technology. They fucking when he's walking around with Mini-Me's legs. I could see. I don't know if that was the velvet or if that was like the crackle of a green screen.
I don't know, but there was
his legs were kind of fuzzy.
There was a painful green screen when they were escaping the facility on their scooter, the prison.
Yes,
like
it reminded me of the fucking Kanye. What was that Kanye video where he and Kim were on the bicycle?
I don't know.
Oh fuck! Let me find it. Kids. It was like a big fucking deal music video, and then James Franco and Seth Rogen covered it.
Yes, I know exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
Bound 2.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because the James Franco and Seth Rogen did the parody of it. It was so fucking funny.
Like, yeah, Bound 2, and then of course I gotta show you Bound 3. It's fucking naked ass Seth Rogen on a motorcycle.
Oh Jesus! I just the fucking still is enough. I have no need to click on that video.
I want to click on that.
Holy shit!
So funny.
So yes, that's what that reminded me of. I think about Dr. Evil rapping.
Yes, that was good.
Oh god, the classic.
It was great.
Yeah. In the jail. It's so funny.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Even though it's just nowhere near any flow. That's what makes it gold.
Dr. Evil is escaping.
As it plays the fucking banjo music. Like, we don't need to go through the fucking story of this. Look, Dr. Evil gets Goldmember back in time, goes to give fucking meteor or some shit. Austin's got to reconnect with his father. There's themes of fatherhood and Daddy never loved me. That's the story, kids. It's there so that you can have it, and then just get jokes and jokes and jokes. Some big, some small, some with wavy hair.
Yeah. The fat bastard scenes in this were great. The wire fight.
Oh yeah.
Look, my water fighting team. Are you ready?
Hey.
I feel like I missed that when I first watched it.
Oh, that
And
was-
this time I'm like,
Get ready for my ultimate wire fight and maneuver has been shouted while my friends and I have played fighting games for years.
They're all so beautifully encapsulated.
Yeah, it's-
like you can just pull them out.
It's weird. Like this, I feel like it might be the most quotable because I feel like I use more quotes from this movie than I do any of the other two, despite the other two being a lot funnier.
yeah.
I think that's an interesting element of comedy that, really good comedians have a good handle on, is kind of that spectrum from like continuous threads of comedy and lots of little like isolated bits. Because like I think of like some comedians like Dave Chappelle where he'll just tell jokes and then he'll like connect it with a through line at the end, and you're just like, whoa, I've had my mind blown by comedy. For example, the one that pops in my head is Dave Chappelle talking about the 4 times he met O.J. Simpson. It's a bit that takes like 10-20 minutes, but like it runs as like a baseline to other jokes. There's like he has multiple jokes in the air at the same time. It's a really, he deserves his fucking awards. Dave Chappelle's a genius. Yeah. And this movie, I think, has this and the other movies, they kind of comedic technically, they're playing on those same techniques.
Yeah, for sure.
And my big thing about this, I'm looking back and watching this, enjoying it especially for the time that it was in and everything that was there in it. I don't know how this would work today. Like if they were making Austin Powers 4 or Austin Powers the reboot at this point, because it's been 20 years, 90s, early 2000s, 2020 or whenever. I don't know how. It's just we live in a different world. I feel like Austin. I have jumped forward a few decades.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think it'd work. I don't think people are, for the same reason that Jerry Seinfeld doesn't do shows on college campuses. It's the same reason I don't think it'd work. People don't know how to laugh and have fun anymore.
It's because they'd be too critical. They'd want like too much of a story, and they don't look at it as like a comedy bit the entire time with like a shallow story spread across the top of it. And they'd try to dig too deep into it, and then they'd probably be offended by one joke, and then that would spoil the entire movie. Maybe for them. This didn't have any, I don't think, jokes that would, I think, offend people, but
Except
Except
for the Dutch.
There are certain segments of the populace that I could see being offended by some of the humor in it.
I don't even think it's about being offensive. I think it's just I'm coming at it from the point of view as how comedy is not necessarily digested, because we watch this and I laugh the same way that I laughed as a youngin'. But the way comedy is produced and the kind of the production paradigms around what comedy, how you make it now, is a lot different from 20 years ago. With it's what we've always been saying, is that comedy movies just don't happen anymore. And that's due to a lot of things. And whatever changes are behind that are the same ones that are going to impact trying to make a Austin Powers movie. I feel like what would happen is it would be like a Ghostbusters, not as bad as a Ghostbusters remake, but what I'm saying is where it caters more to the nostalgia and goes for comedy that it can't do, because all the comedians who would have helped make it like really fucking pop, and who would have like polished it to just a fine shiny head, they're on the internet making their own shit right now, and they're all doing like their own thing. They're being YouTube and Vine and TikTok entrepreneurs. that'll be one of my fucking like just baseless conjectures about comedy now, is that now that you can just make a moderately good living, or like there's a chance of you doing moderately well in the digital space, there's not as much drive to have writers who really fucking perfect their art and do like high budget, high production comedy.
Yeah, you see that a lot because sometimes people who got famous in the YouTube space get plucked out of that space to do, something more conventional, and it just does not go well. What's her name? Lindsay Singh or something like that. Got a late night talk show and is like universally reviled for being not funny.
The Fred movie.
I counterpoint. Kyle on SNL. I don't remember what his last name is. He's the guy who did like the sporty videos on YouTube. He was on YouTube for quite a long time.
Find it for us, Jake. Retrieve this for my approval.
And now he actually is a writer and actor on SNL, and is doing a very good job. And actually, that's one of the things that Gus Johnson tried to. He made a rant about SNL's first quarantine comedy routine and how it kind of like flopped almost. There were a couple good things. I think there was a couple certain actors who or certain writers who actually gave a really good performance and did a bit and made some good comedy, but for the most part it kind of flopped and kind of just I think just didn't hit its mark exactly. And what he was saying is like, look, you have certain people on the SNL team who are used to this internet age of comedy writing, like Kyle, for example, and he like they need to utilize them a little bit more, and I don't think they were. But yeah, so there are some instances. For the most part, it seems like they kind of fall flat.
Oh yeah,
for sure. It's a membrane. We'll call it. You can get through it.
Always exceptions.
But it's
but I think this is an instance where his writing was left to kind of flourish, whereas some other people's may have been kind of reined in by some higher up people, which kind of
now, on an optimistic note, instead of talking about the death of produced comedy in American media, I want to say that if they can pull it off, they'll fucking go gangbusters. I mean, my God, think of it, the entire like a generation of kids who have not experienced like that kind of joke, those kind of jokes with that kind of quality. Like, instead of just really weird, awkward humor, like Michael Cera type jokes and like, I'm so weird and awkward, having a big movie with a fucking smooth comedian with like his own, like a very clear comedic voice, with the kind of, I never thought I'd say this about Austin Powers, but like the subtlety and fine touch of an Austin Powers movie, because it really does. Like I just think about the way they use innuendo and like euphemism, and no shit, it's not a fucking finely woven like silk scarf of a fucking scene that's written. I'm thinking of like the Mr. Roboto scene where it's the subtitles. I mean, the whole gag is really funny, and the euphemisms aren't the most like super creative. Like I have a huge rod.
Yeah.
My ass is happy. I just like, I don't know what I'm trying to get across here. I think,
don't know either, but
I think it's a step. What I'm saying is, it would be a step up from internet.
The spirit.
Humor. I think it's a dish. It's like when your grandma pulls out a secret dish that she never had before, but she knows how. It's like her famous one. You go and listen. You're like, this is amazing. Why don't we have this? It's like, well, it's because you've been going to McDonald's for the last fucking 6 years. God damn it. So it has a high ceiling, but it also has a high floor. So you gotta scamper on up there. And that's the challenge, I think, for Austin Powers 4 should they accept it.
Well, it was at one point in production, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
What? Austin Powers 4?
Yeah, at one point it was in production.
I am actually on an article right now looking it up. I was just curious about it. So there has been recent updates as close as just a month ago. So the director, what's his name? Something Roach? Something? I had it right here. Anyways, the director of the Austin Powers movies, Jay Roach, wants to do another sequel. And I think Mike Myers wants to do one as well. I think they're in communication, just talking about what they want the movie to be. Really,
That's a good sign.
They're just not sure. They want to nail down what exactly the movie wants to be before they start it. So we're still very far away from a movie. I am confident that a fourth one will happen. I still think Mike Myers is interested in the character. He hasn't lost it. He still has definitely a hit left in him. And there's definitely the interest from the directorial side. Problem is going to be the fact that they can't do Vern Troyer anymore. I think they will just write him out. I think that's probably the best thing to do or something. Or
I don't know. Maybe they'll have like a fucking... I don't know how bad, if this would be good or in bad taste, because Vern Troyer, he seemed like a pretty like down-to-earth guy who would be down for like kind of a self-deprecating joke at his own expense. If they did like a little fuck... Like, you had... Oh, if Mike Myers didn't even want to be in... Like, that's weird. I know it's weird to say. If Mike Myers didn't want to be Dr. Evil in this, hear me out. But you have his tombstone, and they have a little tiny tombstone that says Mini-Me. That would be fucking great.
They definitely could. I mean, I think they'd probably clear it with the family. I think people are pretty sensitive about this thing. And Vern Troyer was on the comedy side, so he's not... Him and his fellow colleagues, people who knew him best, would know what he would want.
He was like a fucking he was like a wee bro. He was really chill.
And a small, no pun intended, but a small joke about his death or some bit that they do, I think would be in okay taste, just to push the story in that direction and make sense for Vern Troyer not to be in it. But it has to be tasteful and has to make sense. But yeah, so.
And you know what? Like the last thing I'll say about this, at least before I don't know, before you have finishing thoughts on Goldmember or the rest of this, is that this would be the time to make Austin Powers 4, because it has been like it's been another couple decades. Like, it's another time jump. So, a lot of the same sort of like, this isn't the 2000s anymore, Austin. This is the 2020s.
Yeah, this ain't the 90s anymore, or whatever.
Yeah, this ain't the 90s anymore. And like, it's if you even want to do a reboot, it's perfect. Like, the time it's right. This is when you should do it. Just be decisive, but be decisive, but not hasty, I guess, is my advice. For the writers who are listening to this cast for advice, they're like, what do we do? Oh, fuck. I'm stuck. Be decisive, but don't be hasty about it.
Part of me, I think the time where I wanted an Austin Powers 4 is kind of past. Mm-hmm. I think, at this point, it's probably better to leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I feel like if anybody can do one of these movies the right way, it's the Austin Powers genre. And maybe if they can produce a movie that pops off and is really, really good, it will show people like, hey, this is the format that can work. Try doing something along the lines of this. I'm hoping that's what this movie could show if it does come out. But if it will, we don't know. It's all up in the air. It's we won't know.
I will just say I wouldn't hold my breath on it.
I'm not.
Because the first time I heard about this movie going into production was like 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, but there's articles leading up to, March.
Yeah, no, I understand there's been developments on it, but sometimes these movies stay in development hell for years and never get made.
Yeah.
And rarely are they as good as they could have been.
The one thing that I found from this, totally unrelated, but Jim Carrey's reportedly returning as the Mask in Space Jam 2.
Wait, hold the fuck
All right,
up.
there's a lot in that headline. Lots of digest
that was almost as dense a headline as John Travolta to star in Fred Durst movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say. I mean, there it is.
As the Mask in Space Jam 2.
Okay, if it's I don't know there's a lot of just the potential of this headline is magnanimous. It's ginormous. Because it could be anywhere from like full on like weird ass crossover to just a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he shows up, he's like, I'm in the wrong movie, and then he just like scores a slam dunk, and he just fucking tornadoes out of there like the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah. Either way, it'd be amazing. I'd be okay for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised we never got a proper sequel to The Mask.
Yeah.
Yes. There were never any sequels.
Yeah.
So the report
There were never
says,
any. There wasn't Son of Mask. Well,
the report says
they
he'll
tried.
be returning as one of the referees in a basketball game, so more of a cameo than anything.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean, he still got it.
Yeah.
And we saw it as Eggman. He still has the magic.
Yes, he definitely does. Yeah.
can
Crazy magic.
Turn you on.
It seems like one of those warm-up pictures, Jim, that actors do when they're like, I got to get back and get some chops on my recent record, on my recent resume for stuff. And, Sonic is not a small thing that you do to say that you've been busy recently. It's a little more than that. But, it also serves that purpose for any project that he would be maybe even more driven to do. It's like, here, I've been on big ass fucking bunch of movies. Let's go. I'm not washed up. I'm not old. We are the world.
Peter, you're just in
I'm helping.
some other kind of zone right now. All right.
He's not a lonely celebrity trying to help coronavirus. Anyways, yeah. Any final thoughts on Goldmember?
It puts a button on things reasonably well. If you're gonna watch them, I'd say you can watch all three. But this is the one. I still feel that this is the one I am least likely to go back to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you haven't seen any in a while, you can pick any of them at random, and they'll all be fine. There's not a strong push for me to like choose. There's not like the best one. Yeah, you can pick any of these at random, and you'll be fine. And of course, I guess this goes without saying. Yes, I would recommend this movie to everyone. Go watch it.
Yeah,
Like,
watch it.
If you've never seen early 2000s comedy, like don't go looking at the slop. Go look at this shit. Late 90s, early 2000s goodness right here.
All right.
For sure. Yeah.
Stop by the stream tonight on Twitch or Mixer. We will be playing something. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing. We're kind of out of stuff to do in Borderlands.
I have some ideas for some least tabletop stuff. If not other video gaming stuff.
We'll discuss that and figure it out, but it will be a good time no matter what it is. I can promise you that. And you can check out our social media to know exactly when we go live. Sometimes we're a little early, sometimes we're a little late. Twitter, @StudsSaturn, place to go for that. Facebook.com/Saturn Studs or Saturn Studs Podcast. I'm not sure. You can just search Saturn Studs and I'm sure you'll find us. You can also go to Saturn
as our ongoing battle with the Etsy supplier continues.
You can also go to SaturnStuds.com, which is just the easiest way to get links to everything you need or want that's Saturn Studs related. All right, well, until next time, be well, stay safe, stay indoors, keep 6
Party like it's 2002.
feet away, party like it's 2002 or 1995 in our case, and we'll see you in the next one.
Keep it groovy, baby. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Well, all things considered,